The ability of a building to withstand the elements is found in the foundation. You remember Jesus, that story he gave about the house built on the word and the house not built on the word. He says when the storm came, he wasn't talking about marriage, hello, he was talking about the word. But when the storm came, the house that was built on a solid foundation withstood it, right? Yeah. Same thing. There will be storm in your marriage. Don't let anybody kid you. Some of those storms will be natural storms, right? Life just throws it at you. The man's lost his job. That's a natural storm. That is if he's not the one that did something that made them to sack him. Because sometimes you can be laid off, right? You didn't do anything wrong. The company just says there are too many people working and we cannot pay them, so go. Otherwise, you can steal eggs and then they sack you. Somebody in my place of work, the guy packed egg, put inside his bag, and he was going. Security stopped him. What's inside your bag? That's how he lost his job. When he got home, they said his wife made eggs, boiled plenty eggs for him. Before he got home, his wife had already known that they have sacked her husband. And it's because he stole eggs. She boiled plenty eggs. Say you want job egg, you have job. Job. Now we don't have a job again because we want to eat egg. Job. So there will be natural storms, hello, and there will be man-made storms. Can I say that again? There will be natural storms and there will be man-made storms. But if your marriage is going to withstand the storms, it's a function of self. It's a function of what has gone into making the foundation. There will be days of adversity, and if you faint, it's because your strength is small. Proverbs 24:11. I like the way the Message Bible puts it. It says, if you fall to pieces in a crisis, there wasn't much to you in the first place. So you see, it's not a crisis that made you to fall to pieces. That's what people used to think. Hey, the problem in this marriage. No, that is not what made you to fall into pieces. The Bible says, if you fall to pieces in times of crisis, it's because there was not much to you even before now. So it is in your makeup. And I'm not talking about pancake, I'm not talking about makeup, I'm talking about the substance that has gone into making you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Self. The limit of control is self. The part that you have the most control over in a marital relationship is you. Can I say that again? Because that's one problem we have in marriages. The part that you have the most control over in a marital relationship is you. You have no control over your spouse beyond what they yield. And this is the time, these days they don't yield plenty. Huh? Not like before. The man is in charge, everything is mine. No, these days they don't yield plenty. In most marriages, the two parties spend much of their time in frustration trying to change the other person into the image of what their ideal husband or wife should be, or even into a clone of themselves, rather than concentrating on changing themselves, which is where possibility lies. Please close the door properly because of the noise. So there is no possibility of you changing another human being. No human being has what it takes to change another human being. You don't have that kind of control. There's such a thing as the circle of control, right? If you do psychology, they say there's a circle of control, there's a circle of influence, and then there's a circle of concern. Human beings fall in your circle of concern and your circle of influence. They are not under your circle of control. Your time as to when you wake up, as to when you go to bed, falls under your circle of control. The choice of the food that you eat falls under the circle of control. Whether or not you came to this meeting today, now your control, Abi. You decided whether you wanted to come or you didn't want to come. The clothes you wear, those fall under your circle of control. Who you get married to. But human beings, your wife, your husband, does not fall within your circle of control. And if you don't it is circle of control, circle of influence, then circle of concern. Your circle of concern is wider. Your circle of control is smaller. Most of the problems we have in our lives is because we are concentrating on our circle of concern rather than our circle of control. You can have influence over somebody because you are their boss, right? So, or you are their pastor. So you can speak into their lives and you can influence them. But you really cannot have control over them except you are a witch. Hello. And there's some pastors that are witches. Except you are a witch or you are a narcissist. A narcissist is a dictator. Somebody who will break your hand just to make you say yes sir to them. You understand? Somebody who doesn't mind inflicting any kind of pain on you just to get you. And some husbands and some wives too are narcissists. So except you are a narcissist or you are a witch, you don't have control over human beings, especially adults, right? You cannot dictate or make them do what you want them to do every time, or be who you want them to be every time. Everybody has his own willpower and they can choose to exercise it. So I said most of the problems we have in relationships is because you are busy trying to control your husband or your wife, when in reality you should be controlling yourself. Realize that I cannot control him and I cannot control her. Other human beings don't fall within the circle of your control. So the only thing you really actually have control over, right? It's you. In most marriages, the two parties spend much of their time in frustration, trying to change the other person into the image of what their ideal husband or wife should be. Or even into a clone of themselves. You want the guy to talk like you, pray like you, sing like you, bath like you, do everything like you. Clone, become your clone. Rather than concentrating on changing themselves, which is where possibility lies. So now, what I'm saying is that there's no possibility in trying to change somebody else. None of us has what it takes to change another person. None of us. Only God changes people. So when you enter into marriage, right, you have control over self. That's what I'm trying to say. And it is yourself you have control over. So rather than concentrating on trying to change the other person, change yourself. That's for those of you who are already married now. Obviously, those of you who are not married yet, build yourself, work on yourself now. We'll get into all of that. I'll tell you, I'm not just telling you very, very good depth of how to go about doing these things. But when you enter into a relationship, now you're in a relationship, right? You're already married. And the guy is not everything you thought he was, right? Are you everything that he thought you were? In fact, are you everything that you thought you were? Work on yourself. So you will get more results working on yourself, trying to change yourself than trying to change another person. Because no one can change another person. The attempt to do so will only end in frustration and injury. Mental and physical. Yes, so see a man beating his wife. Why are you beating her? Trying to correct her. She's not your child. You can't correct an adult. Hello? You cannot. What I mean is this. When I say you cannot correct, I'm not talking about you can't tell the person that what you're doing is wrong. I'm saying you cannot, physically discipline an adult to make an adult stop being an adult. They don't bend trees when they are old. They break them, right? That's injury. You can train your child in the way that you should go. You can't train your husband. That's another problem. Women think, when we get married, I'll change you. You cannot train. He's not a dog. Even dogs, when they are old, they don't learn. They don't learn when they are old. There's an adage, you don't teach an old dog, right? A new trick. If you want to train a dog, you train a dog when it's small. Once it's grown, forget it. That's what they're trying to say. So it's the same thing. You can't train them. You can't train your husband, you can't train your wife. This is a source of much heartache and violence in marriage. A lot of it. People are often set in their ways and you don't have what it takes to force them to change. Pain is what makes people change. Hello? And none of us can inflict enough pain to cause somebody to change, at least not legally. None of us. Some people, even you are inflicting pain on them, they will still not change. You know? Kill me, I won't change. Because they are set in their way. Even God, it's only God that can change people. But even God, in His changing people, man, there are people who resist Him. No ways, this one on my own, I am not going to leave it. Yeah, you understand? So spending your time trying to change another human being is like hitting your head against the wall. You will only get a headache. The wall is still going to be standing. So concentrate on yourself. Rather than trying to change the behavior of your spouse or their response to you or the way they treat you, exert the energy in changing you. Exert that energy in changing you. This is good for people who are already married. I know there are not many of them here, but those of us who are married. Change the way you respond. Hello? To their unpleasant behavior. Change how it affects you. The way you perceive their actions. See, I told you, you have control over yourself. Hello? Let me not dwell too much time. I want to pass this. I wanted to give an example. So your husband he's not a handy person. He doesn't fix things in the house, right? Your husband's like that. Don't fix things. Nothing gets broken. That's just the way, because his father doesn't fix things. And so he doesn't fix things. And you grew up with a father who is very handy. So every time you wake up, your father is fixing this, fixing that, fixing everything. Right? Now you want your husband to fix. And your husband is not a fix kind of husband. You have two choices. You either get angry with him, you talk to him, he refuses to change, you get mad at him, you nag him, you become bitter, you refuse to sleep with him, you sleep in a separate room, you create a storm in your marriage. That's one choice, right? Or you can say, okay, I think I don't marry this one. Okay? I think I don't marry this one. Okay. There's nothing I say or do that's going to make him to become a fix person. So I will look for somebody who can fix. I mean, something is broken, money. This is broken, I need money to fix this. That is if you are not working and you need him to give you money. If you have your own money, nobody says you cannot take the money and fix it yourself. Hello, women. Hello. Because it's not the only demand that you spend money to fix things. If you have money, fix. What did he say? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if so when it is fixed, it's only him that enjoys it. There's something that is wrong here. Foundation. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. No, see, we'll get there. Because these are things that have been taught to us, right? We've been taught all of these things, and it's part of our, and this causes problems in marriages. So now, if you use money to fix your own house, the house that you are living inside, that you are enjoying, you feel cheated. You feel cheated, right? But this same man is doing other things, so it's not as if he's not doing other things. He's paying school fees, he's paying rent, he's buying food in the house, he's doing all the other things. I'm digressing. I've left what I'm supposed to be talking about. He's doing all these other things. But because he's not a fixed type, now he must pay for the fix, even though you have money in your pocket to your love. So, we will get there. So if you are using the money, if the whole money is being used to do so many different things, then dip your hand into the money and take it down. Because the whole money is together, and just then do what you want to do. But if the whole money is not together and you have your own money and he has his own money, and he's using all his money to do all those things that we are saying he's doing, don't you alone? But I'm saying that you have a choice. That's where I am. I'm actually digressing. You have a choice. And what you choose will determine how you feel. Hello? If you choose to see it as if the man doesn't love me, you know, some people interpret it like that. The reason he's not fixing it is because he doesn't love me. He doesn't care. Then now, you begin to get angry, you keep malice, you pour poison inside the water of the marriage. I'm not talking about killing him, I'm talking about you spoil the water of the marriage. And then the man is wondering, what's wrong with that? Is it because of, I didn't fix bulb? What's it then fixing bulb? Because somebody to fix the bulb. I mean, because that is how his mother used to do it. Hello. Foundations. I want to run. I have so many examples there, but I'm not going to go there. When you keep exerting yourself are you getting something out of this? When you keep exerting yourself at something and you are not getting results, frustration is inevitable. Right? That's what happens. When you keep insisting that somebody changes, do things the way you want them to do it. Your own way is the right way. If they don't do it that way, it's not done well. When you keep insisting on that and the person refuses to change, frustration will set in. Because you can't and you can't actually, but you can't hit him on the head with something, frustration will set in, resentment will set in, and the waters become muddy.